Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United like I do on a regular basis. So let's delve straight into the topic. So I'm going to give you some additional information on Moussa Dembele from Lyon, because recently, a lot of positivity has come out regarding Moussa Dembele. I think I've spoken with you about him a long time ago. Also, after that, I'm going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Jadon Sancho. Then after that, I'm going to be giving you some news on Alexis Sanchez. So there's lots of topics to delve into. So let's start with the news on Moussa Dembele. So I've just been reading the Manchester Evening News, and they've reportedly said that Moussa Dembele is interested in making a move to Manchester United in the summer transfer window. I think also too a few other clubs have expressed their interest in him. I think, Chelsea have been tracking him for quite some time. Revert back to the January transfer window, I think it did say that Chelsea had agreed personal terms with Moussa Dembele. Now, I definitely notate Moussa Dembele at Manchester United. He is a prolific goal scorer. I think Moussa Dembele now is into his second season with Lyon. I think he has got a contract with them until 2023, so got around 3 years remaining on his contract. I think he scored around 42 goals in 88 games for Lyon as Moussa Dembele. Obviously, Lyon did pay around £20 million for him from Celtic in the summer of 2018. He also enjoyed a very, very good tenure with Celtic. I think he was at Celtic a few years. I think he scored around 51 goals in 94 appearances for Celtic. And I think another beneficial thing about us recommending Moussa Dembele in is that he has played in the Premier League before, so he is well Premier League proven. Don't forget, he played for Fulham. He actually, began his senior career with Fulham. I think he was in their senior squad for around 3 years, and he scored 19 goals in 64 competitive matches for Fulham, did Moussa Dembele, and he is only at the age of 23, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But, there has been a lot of strikers on our agenda. Obviously, we're looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because Lukaku left the football club last summer. After, he did enjoy 2 years at Manchester United. Of course, Lukaku enjoyed an exceptional first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. Lukaku scored 42 goals in 96 games for us in all competitions, but in the end, Lukaku had to go because he did initially lose his place in the team. We sold him for around £72 million to Inter Milan last summer, but it's a shame that we didn't get that replacement for him. But there you go. So that's the latest news, regarding Moussa Dembele. Do you think he'd do very, very well if he was to come to Manchester United? I think he would cost us in the 60-odd or 70-odd million pound range, but Dembele's hold-up play is very, very good. He's very, very clinical, and I think, he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United and that. But definitely, very, very sceptical that from now he'll spend the entirety of his career with Lyon, Moussa Dembele. So that's the latest news on him. Obviously, it still remains uncertain at the moment, whether we are going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. I think it's probably likely that we're going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. I was reading Team Talk yesterday, and they said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified his number one priority striker, and that is Odion Ighalo. Now, he's a cheap solution, because I think it said quite a few weeks ago it'll only cost us around £15 million to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. But if he'd been about 4 or 5 years younger, then probably, would have cost quite a bit more than £15 million. But Solskjaer did make the admission, was it last month or something? He said, we're likely to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer because he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's got 4 goals in 3 starts for the football club. We have got him on loan at the moment. We paid 3 or 4 million to get him on loan. Obviously, we're paying like a third of his wages, and his current loan spell at the football club expires on the 31st of May. But I think it did say, we could extend his loan due to the coronavirus pandemic. So we could extend his loan until the 30th of June. Don't forget his parent club, Shanghai Shenhua, they came out a while back. It was early on in the season. I think, if I'm right, this was before the season got suspended. He, in Shanghai Shenhua, offered him around £400,000 a week, plus a 2-year contract extension to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. But I've got to make an admission, Ighalo has, been a very, very good cover-up for Marcus Rashford, and he is an option of a different type of centre-forward. So there you go. But obviously, look at the other strikers that have been on our agenda. I give you the news on Timo Werner yesterday. I'm very, very sceptical, that Man United will get Timo Werner because, as you all know, his preference is to join Liverpool. Timo Werner is available for around £52 million because that's his release clause in his RB Leipzig contract. So, he's been one striker on our agenda, but he's a cheap solution again, and his versatility is very, very good. And I think he's enjoyed, a good few years with RB Leipzig. It's Timo Werner. You've obviously, had Erling Haaland that's been on our agenda. It was a shame that we didn't get Erling Haaland back in the January transfer window because Erling Haaland would have been an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type signing. Because don't forget, 3 years ago, Solskjaer gave him his debut at Mould at just the age of 16 because Solskjaer worked with Erling Haaland, when he was at Mould. So Solskjaer was keen on a reunion. I think Haaland's got a £60-odd million release clause. I think it did say, though, it may not be active, the release clause, until 2022. Dortmund got him in January for £17 million. It was around 17 million, and he has got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. Aubameyang's been another striker on our agenda. It's looking very, very imminent. He's going to be leaving Arsenal, and he's available for just £30 million. Is Aubameyang available for £30 million? Kane, he's been another striker on our agenda, but now fully disregarded Manchester United getting Harry Kane because Tottenham basically, have said that they want at least £200 million. Well, they want £200 million, which is obviously, a world record fee. And, I'm very, very sceptical that Man United will pay £200 million for Harry Kane. But he came out in March, Kane had made an admission, and he'd fueled a lot of speculation up, saying that he could leave Tottenham if he feels as though the team are not progressing. And he did say, he will not stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. But, we first expressed our interest in Kane under Louis van Gaal, so we've been in for him for the last 4 or 5 years. If Kane does leave Tottenham in the summer, I think he'll probably go to Real Madrid, could possibly go to Juventus. But Kane has revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to win silverware. And he's not experienced this, during his time with Tottenham and that. So which centre-forward, do you think Manchester United should sign? Let me know in the comments below. Which centre-forward, you think we should sign? So now let's delve into news on Jadon Sancho. I have been keeping up to date of what's been going on with him on a regular basis. So Paul Ince has come out and warned Jadon Sancho, to consider, whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right boss. I'm not going to fully, assure that, Man United are going to sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer market. Don't forget, he said, was it early on this week or last week, we are planning to sell around 4 to 5 players to obviously, fund the move for Jadon Sancho. And it did say we'd probably have to sell Pogba to sign Sancho and Jack Grealish because Sancho and Grealish are our 2 priority targets. Now, it did say recently that Jadon Sancho has got an agreement with Borussia Dortmund, and he's got an agreement with Borussia Dortmund. And it did say, that Borussia Dortmund have told Sancho that he can leave in the summer, provided, that their asking price is met. And Borussia Dortmund have basically said, they want at least £100 million. Some reports have said, they want around £120 million. But obviously, either figure would make him a record signing in the Premier League. It'd make him our most expensive signing, and it'd make him the most expensive player, the most expensive British player in history in that. So this is, what it has basically said. Now, it's actually, recently emerged out of the mainstream media saying that Real Madrid and Barcelona have expressed their interest in Sancho. So that could be a transfer blow for Man United. If Jadon Sancho is sold in the summer, don't forget, Manchester City will benefit from it because I think they do get around 15% of the transfer fee because Sancho is a former Manchester City player. He did endure 2 years at Man City, but never got assured any first-team opportunities at Man City. And this is the main reason why I left City to join Borussia Dortmund. And of course now Jadon Sancho, I think it's now in his 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. But got to say, since his arrival in Germany, it has been a revelation as Jadon Sancho and that. But obviously, I've outlined a couple of the reasons already, why it would be beneficial for us to sign Jadon Sancho, because obviously he's well proven in the Premier League. He's obviously, got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford. Rashford did make an admission saying he'd love Jadon Sancho at Manchester United next season, because I think Sancho would go well alongside the likes of Rashford and Greenwood and Anthony Martial in our attacking line. So I've got to definitely make that admission. As well, it's reportedly said, we are willing to offer Jadon Sancho that number 7 shirt, because obviously, we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. And reiterate what I've said on my recent videos, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. To be fair, though, our recent number 7s haven't been so good, let's be honest. They haven't been so good. It did say the other week that Borussia Dortmund believe that they can convince Jadon Sancho to stay with them by offering him a new 1-year contract with around £9 million a year, which would make him the second highest paid player at Borussia Dortmund, just behind Marco Reus, because Marco Reus is Borussia Dortmund's highest paid player. Now, Jadon Sancho, I think, still got a couple of years remaining on his contract. He's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. But even, this coronavirus pandemic, Borussia Dortmund do remain ruthless over their valuation. They do remain ruthless over their valuation. And don't forget, recently, Borussia Dortmund sporting director came out and, he basically said, they do remain relaxed over Sancho's future. But I think they've come to accept the fact that Sancho wants to leave. Obviously, we've been in negotiations with his agent for a couple of months at least. We've been working on his contract for quite some time. I think it did say we would be willing to offer around £200,000 a week for the player. It's not only been my club, Man United, that have been in for him. Chelsea have been in for him. He's revealed, that he is a lifelong Chelsea fan. Liverpool were in for him. Real Madrid were in for him at one point. And Jadon Sancho's only the age of 20, and he's predominantly a right winger. And of course, Man United are in search for a right winger. Man United are in search for a right winger. I think occasionally can play centrally, can Jadon Sancho. Yes, he can. But, Dortmund selling him for 100 million or 120 million pounds. Either way, they're going to make a huge profit on the player, because they only paid around 7 or 8 million pounds for him from Manchester City. So that's the latest news regarding Jadon Sancho. I think the Express have just said that we've decided, not to sign, Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer market. But yeah, Dortmund do want at least £100 million for the player. Dortmund have had a few players on their agenda, who actually, could replace Jadon Sancho and that. So that's the news on him. Now let's delve into the news on Alexis Sanchez. So Damasio, who's a reliable Italian journalist, and he's spoken about quite a few topics recently, but he's come out and said, that Sanchez will return to Manchester United after his loan spell with Inter Milan. Now, it did report out quite a few days ago, I think, a few Man United fans would have updated you on it, that Sanchez had purchased a £2 million apartment in Florida. I think it includes a private club. And reflecting on that, it did say there's a possibility chance that Sanchez could go to Inter Miami, from Inter Milan, basically, because Inter Milan have got no intentions of getting Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. We don't really want him back at Manchester United, but I think he's set to come back, and he probably, he's got a contract with Man United as Sanchez until 2022. Like I said, his wages, are absolutely substantial at Man United. He's on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week based on the image rights and the bonuses and that. So I did say his wages were having a really, really bad effect on the football club. And, despite the fact that he's on loan at Inter Milan now, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. I think we're still paying him like 300 grand a week, and Inter Milan are paying like the other £100,000 a week or something like that anyway. But Sanchez enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Inter Milan. I think he's only made a couple of starts in the Serie A. I think he's been out of an ankle injury. He enjoyed a difficult 18 months with us. I think he made 45 appearances in all competitions and only managed 5 goals. We got Sanchez back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal and that. But Sanchez didn't live up to expectations at Man United, as we all thought he would have done. because he did enjoy a good 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal. He played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona and also did very, very well. So, yeah, I think Sanchez is set to return to the football club. He's set to return to the football club. Obviously, I've already given you the latest news overnight on Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is also another one of our priority targets. Jack Grealish will cost us in the 70-odd or 80-odd million pound range. You saw my videos that I did yesterday. I give you, Man United's best and worst signing since the Alex Ferguson era. And I also, went through with you, the defensive midfielders, what defensive midfielders, Man United, should try and sign in, the summer transfer market, because there has been quite a few holding midfielders on our agenda. So let's just put that into the equation. Like I said to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed his plans, for when the summer transfer market does open. That's if it does open and that. But obviously, Solskjaer's got the backing of Ed Woodward, and he's also got the backing of the Glazers. Obviously, Ed Woodward has reiterated, that he's willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ed Woodward believes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. And he said quite a few times this season that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe at the football club. And I can assure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season. Now, don't forget, a couple of weeks ago, Solskjaer did insist that we will exploit the transfer market when it does reopen. So what he means in that aspect is that, he thinks we can recruit, the right calibre players in. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had said. But I've got to make an admission, I think we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. Of course, Solskjaer so far has enjoyed 3 transfer windows at the football club. Didn't recommend anyone in his first transfer window, but in the 2 previous windows, he has recruited 5 players in and spent around 220 million. Last summer brought Daniel James in, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and in January he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. So that was one of the reasons that I outlined what saved his job, because Solskjaer did enjoy a successful January transfer window, and plus, Bruno Fernandes, has been a very, very good signing for us, because Bruno Fernandes has made the difference in the team, and he's definitely the foreseeable future for Man United. Don't forget, Bruno Fernandes won Premier League Player of the Month, reflecting on his good performances, for Manchester United. And that, Bruno Fernandes is predominantly number 10. Obviously, we're going to keep him in that number 10, because obviously, if we put Bruno Fernandes as a holding midfielder or central midfielder, that's when he could become a liability in that. But, Bruno Fernandes is definitely the best player we have recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. Of course, Ed Woodward has been talking a lot recently, like I updated you on. Ed Woodward, says we will remain highly competitive in the transfer market. He's also, determined to back Solskjaer. And he's basically, made a transfer promise to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Don't forget, was it last Friday? Ed Woodward had told the fans forum that, our business will not be as usual. We will not do business as usual, in the summer transfer market. So what he meant in that aspect is that we won't be spending hundreds of millions of pounds. So basically, Ed Woodward had ruled big transfers out to Manchester United, because a lot of clubs' transfer budgets, will be reduced due to this coronavirus pandemic and that. So, so there you go. Like I said, we're hoping to generate over £100 million for the 5 players, that we do sell in the summer. Of course, I've already gone through with you, the players that I think, Man United will get rid of in the summer. I think we'll definitely get rid of Phil Jones, because Phil Jones can't even get into the team. Of course, Phil Jones is now into his 9th season at Manchester United, and, he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. I think we paid just over £17 million for Phil Jones, deposit from Blackburn. But like I said, he can't get into the team now, because you've got Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof that are our first choice centre-halves. You've got Bay and Tuanzebe that are our, obviously, backups. We've got a hell of a lot of centre-halves in the team. Obviously, we've got Rojo and Smalling that are out on loan. But I think it's very, very imminent that we'll get rid of them on permanent transfers. But yeah, we can get around maybe £10-12 million for Phil Jones, because he did sign a new long-term contract last season, did Phil Jones. I think we'll definitely get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira because, they've been two liabilities. Lingard has lost the confidence of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, hasn't he? I think, since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, Jesse Lingard has found game time very, very difficult. Lingard's, I think, now got exactly a year remaining on his Man United contract. But like I said before, reflect on his status at the football club, reflect on the number of years he's been here. He should be putting much more better performances out. Pereira, he's played regular this season, but that's only because of the injury to McTominay. But now McTominay's, come back. Pereira, the vast majority of his appearances are coming from the substitutes bench. And Pereira's got a contract with Man United till 2023, but Pereira only became regular last season anyway. So let's just put that into the equation. Possibility chance, that we could get rid of Diego Dalot. There was rumours coming out the other week, saying that PSG, had expressed an interest in Diego Dalot. We've revealed our asking price for him. We said we want in the £30-odd million range for Diego Dalot. Obviously, he's only made one start in the Premier League this season as Dalot, I think, because obviously, he has sustained quite a few injuries. He is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka, is Diego Dalot. We paid £19 million in from Porto back in the summer of 2018. I think it was Jose Mourinho's last transfer window as Manchester United manager. I think it also said that Spurs have expressed an interest in Diego Dalot. So we'll hope to get over £100 million for the 5 players we get rid of. Possibly we'll get rid of Paul Pogba, we don't know yet because there is a lot of uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future at the football club. But, Solskjaer, has basically, said he's looking to make around 4 signings in the summer because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. And don't forget, he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United like he did do, last summer and that. Still wants to continue that policy. But he's already identified the areas in the squad where he wants to strengthen up. He wants a forward, he wants a right winger, and he wants a midfielder. There's still some reports emerging out saying that, we want to get a centre-half in, but I'm very, very sceptical, that Man United will recommend the centre-half in the summer transfer market because these more priority areas, that, do need strengthening up and that need strengthening up. But yeah, I think we can mount a title challenge up next season, if we can get the right calibre players in the summer. Obviously, at the moment, you've got City that are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us in that. And, Liverpool going to make signings in the summer to continue their dominance up, so too are Manchester City. Arsenal will probably make signings, Chelsea will probably make a couple of signings in that. So there you go. But like I said to you, obviously, before the football season that got suspended, we was in a good vein of form because, we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. And like I said, that's our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager. And I think I've taken some positives, from Solskjaer's tenure so far. He's, promoted the youth very, very well. So we have got a reputation now of promoting the youth. The young players have been given their chances this season at Man United. Greenwood's been given his chances. Brandon Williams has been given his chances. I expect Chon to get more opportunities next season. Gomez, we're trying to get him a new contract. So yeah, we have got a hell of a lot of young players in the squad. Garner, he should get more opportunities next season. So there you go. And I think, Solskjaer's approach to the big games this season have been very, very good because we've registered like 17 points against the big 6 sides this season. So that's also another positive you can take. Obviously, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous. So that is a negative. But there again, his record was disastrous at Cardiff. Solskjaer began his managerial career with Cardiff. I think he only managed around 29 games for Cardiff. The main explanation why he got sacked is because he got Cardiff relegated. Then after Cardiff went to Mould, did quite well with Mould to be fair. But there you go. But we'll give Solskjaer the job permanently, reflecting on, what he did when he was the interim manager. But, we have enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season, I think, for around 30 years. But I'm hopeful that the season can resume because, we're sitting 5th in the Premier League at the moment, 3 points behind Chelsea. We're into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We're into the last 8 of the Europa League. So that's a chance for us, getting some silverware on the board and that. But, you know, mate, I'm still very sceptical that Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. But we need to see how things go next season, because he has been here 16 months. He has been at the football club over a year. But it just takes some managers time to settle in. Because Solskjaer is our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Of course, we have sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Of course, we sacked David Moyes, we sacked Louis van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. So they're the 3 managers we sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. And, you know, we have been playing catch-up in the last 6 or 7 years. You know, obviously we've had different managers with different philosophies. You know, we spent close to the £1 billion range on players in the last 6 or 7 years. That's including, you know, what we spent under Solskjaer. I think we've got, like, is it the highest wage bill in the Premier League? You know, so, yeah. You know, got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. And like I said, you know, we have recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. Like I said, you know, Moyes brought Fellaini and Mata in. You know, Louis van Gaal brought the likes of Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, Martial and Luke Shaw, who are still here now. You know, Rojo, Darmian, Herrera. So Louis van Gaal, you know, did bring, you know, a lot of players into the football club, but he also got rid of a lot of the players that we did have under the Alex Ferguson era. And, you know, like I said, you know, Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Mourinho enjoyed 2.5 years at Manchester United. You know, Solskjaer, you know, is inheriting the vast majority of Jose Mourinho's players, so he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team and that. But even though we've been so inconsistent for several years, you know, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. And we are the most successful team in England because, you know, we've won 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since, 2013. So we haven't won it now for 7 years or so. So there you go. I also just want to give you an update now before I do finish this video on, you know, the Premier League. So the Premier League have held a meeting today, as I think you all know, to establish plans for the remainder of the season. The Premier League, of course, have had quite a few meetings, you know, to establish plans for the remainder of the season. And as far as I'm aware at the moment, I don't think an actual statement has come out yet. I think it was like a 4-hour meeting today, you know, to obviously, you know, to discuss, you know, whether these 92 fixtures, you know, can be played, because these 92 games, you know, to play this season and that. And I think, you know, the set to have another meeting next week, you know, to try, you know, get a resume date for it to start. Now, there has been rumours saying, you know, that the Premier League, you know, will start on the 6th of June. That came out a while back. Recently, you know, there's been talks of, you know, the season starting on the 8th of June. And then obviously, you know, the Premier League said, you know, they wanted the season completed by the 31st of July. So Champions League and Europa League games can be played in August. So that, but there has been talks, you know, the season, you know, starting in June and that. But, you know, some people are coming out saying that, you know, the season should be void. Now, Liga 1, which is, of course, in France, that got confirmed recently. That has been cancelled, obviously, you know, due to this coronavirus pandemic. But PSG have been crowned Liga 1 champion, so they've been given the title. I think the teams who were in the relegation zone in Liga 1 have been relegated to Liga 2. So, yeah. So, if the season was to be void over here, you know, would we do the exact same thing as what's happened in League 1? But, you know, we want to resume the season anyway. And I've also heard today that if the season isn't to resume, I heard that, you know, there could be 23 teams in the Premier League next season, and there will be around 44 fixtures, and no teams will be relegated. So it also mentioned for that to happen, League Cup fixtures could be scrapped. And that I've also been hearing reports saying that, you know, Liverpool could be denied the title. You know, you've heard it a lot for a long time now. You know, Liverpool could be denied the title. Some reports have been in contrast saying, you know, Liverpool will still get the title if the season's void. UEFA President Alexander Shefrin, he actually, you know, says that Liverpool should get the title even if the season is, you know, void. Obviously, you know, Liverpool are sitting top of the Premier League at the moment. Obviously, you know, they're 25 points clear of City. You know, they only need 2 wins, you know, to clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. If Liverpool were to be denied the title, then I think, you know, there would be a really, really bad riot in that. And if the season was to be void as well, you know, who would get qualification for the Champions League? You know, UEFA, you know, I think we're negotiating about that the other week. They held talks with like 50 odd national associations. There was talk saying, you know, we'd get qualification for the Champions League. You know, then they said Arsenal would get it. I don't know, to be quite honest with you, but I'm still pretty convinced that the season, you know, will definitely resume. You've had Gary Neville coming out basically saying that, you know, the season should be completed abroad. You know, I don't know, to be quite honest with you, but we'll find out more, you know, when the statement's actually, you know, being published online. So, yeah, the Premier League have had a meeting this morning to establish plans for the remainder of the season, because it has been suspended since the 9th of March. So it's been suspended now for over 5 weeks, is it now? Not over 5 weeks, sorry, over 7 weeks, I think, sorry, should I say, the Premier League, and that's been suspended. Eredivisie, which is the Dutch league, that's also been cancelled as well. So, yeah. So that's also been cancelled. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. And if you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.